simulation review. So here it goes. So what happened? First things first. Well, in my professional communication plus simulation, there was 4 parts, each testing a different aspect of the workplace communication. First, I had to respond to my boss Felicity's request for a profitability briefing on a high-risk extreme sports insurance package. Next, I had to gather data and insights from a colleague, Olive, whose message was highly detailed but emotionally charged. And third, I was asked to deliver difficult news to another colleague, Drew, who resisted proposed premium increases. And finally, I compiled a concise executive briefing to, again, my boss, Felicity, summarizing my findings and my recommendations. Each stage challenged a different skill. First one being analytical communication, second one being interpersonal management, third one being emotional intelligence, and the fourth one being an executive summarization. And throughout, I had to balance my professionalism, my clarity, and empathy, and still navigate uh, into competing stakeholders. So what's the significance? Well, the simulation turned out to be a pretty powerful reminder of how complex communication can be in professional environments. Responding to Felicity highlighted the importance of perceived efficiency and decisiveness. She wanted quick, confident updates from data related to her work resources, unbeknownst to me, rather than my own detailed methodology based on my own research. And with Olive, I learned that setting context and boundaries early prevents emotional or unfocused responses. I mean, her overly detailed email showed me that vague instructions that I provided can lead to an unnecessary information overload. Delivering the bad news to Drew emphasized the value of empathy without bias. It was easy for me to align with a frustrated colleague, and keeping my stance of neutrality while still validating his feelings helped me remain credible and trustworthy. And this was definitely my strongest segment. Finally, creating the executive summary for Felicity underscored the importance of tailoring communication. This example being that senior leaders want clear insights and not technical depth. And I had a rather strong performance in this as well. And altogether, these moments revealed that effective communication is not just about sharing information, but also about adapting tone, structure, and content to fit the audience's mindsets and priorities. Now, what will I do? All right, moving forward, I plan to be more intentional in how I communicate, and especially in a multi-stakeholder setting. I'll start by being clear and more specific. In my request for information, I'll be more clear in setting deadlines, explaining purposes, clarifying how the information will be used, and making sure to ask the right questions if I don't have the information, all while still maintaining a very high professional attitude and tone throughout. And this should and will help reduce any ambiguity and unnecessary emotional noise, like the response I experienced with Olive, for example. And when dealing with senior leaders like Felicity, I'll focus more on results-driven updates that emphasize decisions and outcomes rather than processes. And for colleagues like Drew, I'll continue to practice empathy while still maintaining professionalism and objectivity. And I also want to strengthen my ability to translate complex data into actionable insights, meaning just improving my summarization skills using visuals or clear metrics or clear objectives, and thinking constantly about what my audience values most. Ultimately, my goal is to communicate with clarity, confidence, and sensitivity, even in a high pressure, high stakes situation. Uh, Overall assessment, how I feel about it. Well, overall, this simulation started humbling. I didn't do so well at the start, and then it finished kind of eye-opening. To some degree, it felt realistic, even though the backstory was pretty vague. You didn't really have the greatest relationships with your coworkers that the computer made it out to be. But it did feel like the kind of challenge I could easily encounter in a real workplace. At first, I was mainly focused on completing the tasks, but as the simulation progressed, I began to understand the deeper purpose, which was to practice adaptability, awareness, attaining your objective, and maintaining professionalism in every interaction. I realized that written communication is not linear, even though it reads one after the other. It's more relational, and the same message can land very different depending on the tone, context, and the timing. I also noticed growth as I went along. Each segment helped me kind of refine my writing skills and focus my tone, and understand that there's different expectations based off of different audiences. This experience showed me that I can improve. I can improve by asking the right questions, be more direct, data oriented, and not be overloading people with data, be more audience aware. And it also affirmed the value of emotional intelligence and adaptability, two traits that turn technical communication into professional credibility, I think. And in the end, the simulation didn't just test my communication skills, it strengthened my understanding of how to connect, influence, and lead through the way I write and the way I speak.